Welcome back to my channel. After spending what feels like so long on my manuscript to finish the third novel that I've ever written, I have got through this next round of edits. I feel like I've got so many more to go, but I've been dedicating so much time to it that I haven't really done like a reading vlog for so long. So I thought we would just spend the weekend reading my TBR. I did a TBR challenge back in summer where I went on a book buying ban and I didn't buy anything until I got through my TBR. I've now managed to get that TBR pile back up to the same level it was in summer, so I need to get through that. I am just naturally placing myself on a non-strict book buying ban just because I'm a bit broke this month, so I haven't bought any books lately, so I just thought it was a good opportunity to just crack through this TBR. And I'm trying to do quite like a chill weekend this weekend in London just because I've done so much lately and I'm just trying to save money. So I'm just going to read and I'm going to enjoy myself. I am going to do a little bit of editing here and there, but I'm not spending so much time. I basically used any of my reading time in the past few weeks. I've been editing, but my friend has just read my book and I'm going to give it back to my sister to do some of her edits as well. So it's kind of in other people's hands at the moment, which means it's a perfect time to read my TBR. So what am I reading at the moment? I picked up this, which is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I've had this on my TBR for a while. It's actually the airport edition of the book and I think I bought it back in December and I was just really feeling Sally Rooney. The weather's been rubbish and I always like reading like such cozy books at that point, and for some reason like Sally Rooney came to mind, and I think it's because of Normal People. That is one of my favorite books of all time. It's such a comfort read and I always comfort watch the TV series, so I thought let's read a bit of Sally Rooney. This is a chess type fiction book. I think the younger brother, this follows two male protagonists. One's an older brother, one's a younger brother. They've just suffered the loss of their dad, and the younger brother is like a chess whiz champion, and I think it's to do with them like dating people. So like I think the younger brother dates someone older and then the older brother has a relationship with someone younger. I think it's kind of to do with like age gap. It did take me a while to like get into it, I think because I was editing my book, but the first like 5-6 pages didn't make any sense to me. But now that I'm reading it, I would say that I'm definitely getting into it way more and I'm actually really enjoying it. I started reading a bit more last night. I'm only on page 40, so I will continue reading this during the weekend and I'll let you know what I'm thinking. But then, you know me, I don't just read a book on paperback, I also listen to an audiobook. Ages ago, and I know I spoke about it, but I got gifted the Magnolia Falls book series and I absolutely loved that book. I think it was either the last 5-star of 2024 or the first 5-star read of 2025, but these have been sat on my TBR for ages because they are a small town romance book series. But the first book was a 5-star for me. It's very similar to kind of like Elsie Silver, Lucy Score kind of vibes, and I was just in the mood. So these are on Everand, the audiobook, so it meant that I could listen to them using my Everand subscription. So I had the first one in January or December, rated it 5 stars. I've now moved on to the second book, which is Wild River, and they're actually not too long. I think the audiobooks are like 9 hours, which is like 350 pages or something like that. So really easy read, really easy to get through. This current book is, so all of them are very, like I said, very similar to Elsie Silver and Lucy Score, where all of the different books in the series have separate main characters in each book, but they all intertwine with each other. So these books follow like a male friendship group. So there's 5 in total. There's obviously Magnolia Falls as well. These are the 4 that are on my TBR. They follow like a male friendship group, and one of the like guys in the friendship group has a younger kid, and he always features in the books, which is really cute. And I'm not sure which book it will be to like get onto the single dad trope, but that's coming. This one, how do I even explain what's happening in this book? Kind of, I think, enemies to lovers vibe. I feel like all of them are slightly enemies to lovers vibe, but with this one, he's a lawyer and he's like, I don't date, and I think it's kind of like Grumpy Sunshine too, but also she's quite like a fierce, independent character. She came from quite like a broken home, and all of the characters in these books kind of have different unique backgrounds and stories where they've either come from like a broken home or like a difficult situation. The author always goes into their backstory, so you kind of get that development. So the guy is a lawyer, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I've just got to the point in the audiobook where he's talking about his backstory. But then the female main character, she comes from a broken home, so the mum sort of abandoned her when she was younger and has different kids with different dads as well, so they have quite like an unstable relationship and quite like a different relationship. She's always bailing her brothers out of dodgy situations, so there's some strain there. And then she lived with her dad, and her dad has health issues, so like the first time you meet them is when they're both in hospital because her dad I sound really silly when I say it, but he basically like overdosed on like Viagra, but not intentionally. Like he was dating a younger woman and was trying to keep up. Anyway, that's how you first meet them. That's like the first chapter of the book. And so he is the dad's lawyer, and the dad owns the bar in Magnolia Falls, but then because he falls sick, the girl has to then go into the bar, and she works behind the bar to cover him while he is recovering. And then they don't really get along, and you kind of see that dynamic go. So yeah, it's kind of like a lot of all of the tropes that you see in these like Lucy Scott, Elsie Silver books. So I think it goes through all of the different tropes. Like I know I'm going to get a single dad romance in here as well at some point. Fake marriage is another one. And these are just like such comforting books, and I've really enjoyed listening to them. I think they're quite easy to listen to on audiobook. Great dog walking audiobook as well. Nothing revolutionary, but I'm enjoying it. I would say that this book isn't quite a 5-star for me at the moment. I'm halfway through, but I will definitely finish this one probably today, which is Friday, or by tomorrow, and then I might end up listening to more audiobooks, so I'll probably pick another one in this series just to continue it. I'll keep updating you on how I go, because I'm halfway through Wild River at the moment, and then I've just started Sally Rooney, so I probably won't finish this weekend, but I'll read as much as I can. So yeah, let's get on with the reading.
To the city streets, we began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
So I have the quickest reading update because I am running late for a dog walk with Tom. It's Sunday morning and I have been trying to get into Intermezzo, but I should say actually before that, the very quick update I have is that I finished Wild River on audiobook. I ended up finishing it yesterday, not Friday, because work got so busy that I couldn't concentrate on both. So I finished Wild River yesterday. I gave it 4 stars. It's a very comforting read, exactly like I said before, nothing really like revolutionary. If you want a small town romance and you love all of the like most popular romance tropes, then you'll really like that series and I really do recommend it. So then going back to Intermezzo, I wanted to love it way more than I have. The thing is I think just the way that it is as a paperback book doesn't suit me, in the sense that the words on the page are small, like there's a lot of text on one page, so maybe I would have been better reading it on Kindle. And also the chapters are so long. The chapter that I'm currently on, chapter 4, I'm like over 10% of the way through the book, maybe even 15%. This chapter is an hour and a half long. It's so long. So that just like really put me off. When I started reading it and I gave myself time to sit and read it, I did get through it, but then I didn't find myself rushing to pick it back up again. Because I finished Wild River on audiobook, I'm now doing Intermezzo on audiobook, and as I get ready and I walk around the house, I'm enjoying it way more because the guy, like the audiobook is set in Ireland, so the audiobook is Irish accent, which is one, really cool, and then also like you don't notice the chapter lengths, and it's really easy and quite like a comforting story to listen to. It's not as good as Normal People, I'd say. It's more along the lines of Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, and that one was never as popular as Normal People, but I would say like it's good, and I'm sad that I couldn't read it in paperback because it feels like quite literary fiction, and I wanted to like romanticize reading like quite a highbrow book and then like sitting and just getting into something that was about chess as well. I will finish it and I'll get through it a lot quicker. I think currently it's sitting on like 3 stars. It was 2-star when I was reading it on paperback. Now that I'm listening to it, it's gone up to 3 stars. So we'll see how I feel by the end of it. I don't know how much I'll listen to today, but for paperback, I have, even after saying yesterday I'm getting through my TBR, I failed. I went book shopping with my friend yesterday very quickly. She came to my neighborhood and we went to the independent bookshop and I saw this book and I could not buy it. It is the indie version of Alice Feeney's recent release, Beautiful Ugly. And if you look, sprayed edges, it is the signed independent bookshop edition, so I couldn't not get it. It's signed. I did say that I wouldn't buy books unless they were special editions, so I feel like I stuck to that. And I recently went to a book talk by Alice Feeney in Waterstones Piccadilly, the other month, and she was phenomenal. She was so inspirational as an aspiring writer. She was just also such a lovely person. It was one of my favorite book talks that I have been to, and I've been to quite a few. It was amazing. So I think the fact that I went to that, I wanted to support her. I didn't get the book at the time because I've never read any Alice Feeney, but I just was like, when I'm in London, all I want to do is go to these book events because I'm so lucky to have them. It's annoying that a lot of them are in London, but because I live in London, obviously that's really lucky for me. So I want to make the most of that. And now, because I've heard her talk about it at the book event, I'm not a huge thriller person, but I think I'm going to pick this up because also the pages are really big. So it'll be easy for me to finish. And I don't think it's that big. It's like under 300 words. So I think I'll get through this like this week. And Tom's around, so I can read like a book that will give me the creeps, and it's totally fine because I won't go to sleep alone in my one bed flat. So yeah, I'm gonna maybe pick this up. We're gonna go for a lazy dog walk, like a long one today because it's Sunday. So I'll probably come back and read a little bit. So I'll give you an update of my first impressions of a book that was not on my TBR, but I'm gonna read. Quick reading up. I am so happy that I switched to Alice Feeney Beautiful Ugly. It is so much easier to read than the Sally Rooney book, but I'm finding it easier to get through but to enjoy the Sally Rooney book on audiobook. I actually listened to a lot more than I read. Like, it took me less time to read the same amount on audiobook than it did reading it because I kept picking it up and then abandoning it. I have just started reading this Alice Feeney book. I've read the first chapter and then I'm now into the bit that goes like a year later. So it's good. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel reading a thriller at night, but we'll see if I get nightmares. I think it'll be fine. I'm glad I moved to this, and I definitely mood read this even though I have a whole TBR that needs reading, but that's okay. At least I like bought it and then read it straight away and it didn't just sit on my shelves. So once I get through my TBR, maybe I'll get into better habits and do this on a go forward and just buy a book and then read it straight away. Who knows? Anyway, let's get back to reading.